All right, Jonathan, thank you for being on here. I appreciate it. Let's start by telling me who you are and what you're working on and what's exciting you right
Okay, wow. Simple question, but yeah, a lot of I can take it a lot of directions. But
now.
yeah, I mean, I've always been passionate about spaces. In the past, definitely from more of a traditional building architectural perspective. But then, yeah, for a number of years, it was more just realizing I really was passionate about how we experience spaces. So, from event spaces to cultural spaces and these types of things. So more about, yeah, the experience we have in those spaces. So a lot of my bit work has been indirectly related to that, in regards to innovation or creating spaces for people. Yeah, so that's, I guess that's the long and short of it. But yeah, and just continually finding how that more and more aligns with what I'm truly interested in, and not just for a business, but like really like what do I really want to contribute,
Mhm.
So.
And how do you come to terms with that in terms of business versus contribution?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we always got to pay the bill. So there's
Mhm.
always and sometimes, yeah, and sometimes you just do what it takes. Maybe that is in other businesses, but even the businesses I've been doing, it's always spatial related, which, I love. I just love creating a space that someone enjoys, and whatever that means, in whatever regards that is. So.
And how did you get into that type of work? Like what led you
Yeah, it was, I guess it just came so naturally. Like from even a kid, I was like always around it. Just spatial design of some sort, especially with parents, and then my own businesses and stuff like that. So I don't know. Yeah, it's just second nature to me. And then also, wow, probably even like 15, 20 years ago now, it was really a shift. Whereas, yeah, I realized it was just more the experience in that space. It wasn't just about the building or the design or, the aesthetics of it, but it was, yeah, like how do we, optimize our spaces and our experience in those spaces for whatever quality of life, or yeah, for social
amazing?
purposes and that. Yeah. So.
And I have to ask, some of these interviews were recorded before everything was happening with the pandemic situation, but I'm curious to know how has that affected your work and the way that you think about spaces?
Yeah, good question. I think on a very practical note, yeah, definitely like part of some of my projects are couple bed and breakfasts. So I mean that's obviously decreased the type of people, but even that it was more of a hobby than anything, at least in my mind. But definitely in the way I think about spaces, not a lot. Funny enough, has changed in the sense that I think a lot of the way we experience space is the way we think about space, the meaning we give space, and the way we interact with it. So I think this has just brought it to the surface. I think fears about spaces or about the way they interact with people in a space, or their environment in general. Let's just put it that way. Their environment in general, I think. So that's kind of the way I've seen it. So yeah, of course, there's been lots of changes, but at the same time, I think it's just underlying
Mm.
fears that are just, yeah, being amplified.
Bubbling to the surface.
Yeah,
And what would you say you most need help with right now?
that's a good question. Nothing comes to mind. I mean, definitely there's lots of things that are in works and building momentum, but I don't know. I've always just had this kind of mindset of like, there's always something I can do right now. And usually the answer is always right in front of me. It's usually the next step. It's always the answer is next there. And so I don't know. Yeah, that's always a tough one to answer because, yeah, it's just the next
Mhm.
step. And that's there. I don't know if that makes sense, but,
Well, what's the next step for you?
yeah, so a lot of this is launching more of a well, both a physical, but also then kind of more of an online type of kind of like an experiential museum type of thing, where we can actually experience how different spaces affect, how we think about spaces, how we think about life, and so yeah, kind of more an experiential museum. And again, part of that will be yeah. So that's
Cool.
a bit of what's in the works right now, like literally this week, and that I'm redesigning some stuff and that, but yeah, we'll see how that exactly unfolds in the next little while, both physically and then online. So
Perfect. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add?
That's no, I mean, that's it. Yeah, I said that's what I'm passionate about right now, what I'm involved in, and yeah.
Well, and where can people find you online, and how can they get in touch with you?
Most of it's just personal links right now, like
Cool.
Facebook or link, Instagram and stuff like that. So
Jonathan D. O'Connor.
Jonathan
I
D.
can see it. I can
O'Connor.
see it in
Yes.
the corner. Well, perfect,
Perfect.
Jonathan. Thank you so much for jumping on today, and
Yeah, yeah,
enjoy the rest of your day. Appreciate
yeah.
it.
Nice chatting with
Thanks.
you again. Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.